So I'll keep things very broad, but with a focus on my research into drugs in wastewater and how you can track or estimate community consumption. So my goal is to give a sense of how the project has evolved to this level, and also talk about some of the key collaborations, partnerships that are in process, but also some that are actually being developed and some of the challenges that align with that. So what is wastewater-based epidemiology? Well, currently it's recognized by the European Drug Report and UNODC, the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, as an alternative complementary approach to monitoring pharmaceutical and illicit drug consumption within a community. Whenever you take a drug, whether it's a pharmaceutical drug or illicit drug, it will be consumed, metabolized, and eventually flushed down the toilet and as urine or feces, and everything goes to the wastewater reclamation facility. And the water that comes in, the wastewater that comes in, the influent, is at a higher concentration than the effluent once it's been cleaned up and processed at the WRF. Then that water, we expect that it has a lower concentration of the analytes. So in what WBE, the key focus is to analyze the wastewater influent. So the water that actually goes, the wastewater that goes into the sewage treatment plant or wastewater reclamation facility. What some of the advantages is that it's non-intrusive. It provides near real-time data. I mean, I can go to a wastewater treatment plant, get a sample, analyze it in the lab, and the analytical techniques are GCMS and LCMS. And I can get results and find out what has been consumed at the moment, what's in the water, what are people using. And you can track spatial and temporal trends, and you can differentiate between direct disposal versus consumption, and you can detect short-term changes in drug use. Some of the limitations, it can't be correlated to demographics, and the data is accurate at the time. It's near real-time data, but it's only accurate for that period, and can be influenced by so many other things. So yes, it's great, but it also has its limitations. And key is a stigmatization of a community. So you notice that in WBE, we don't mention the location of the wastewater treatment plant. We just say 2 wastewater treatment plants in Birmingham, Alabama, because as I said, a wastewater reclamation facility will serve a certain community, and that community can be large or small. So if drugs are being found in there, you don't want to stigmatize that community and say, well, this neighborhood is really into this sort of drug. These are some of the drugs that we've detected in wastewater. We have a long list, but these are the key, the high concentrations. Aside from research, initially it was just a research project, giving some students something to work on. And it is evidence-based, quick synopsis of new drugs flooding the market, or it may not be new drugs, it could just be what drugs are in the market, what are people using. And then it moved from just research, just getting the information, and then realizing there's a public health angle to it. Because now we can detect what drugs that may not be known that people are using. And so it's a strategy to rapidly detect emerging and previously unknown drug problems, and this can help, allows for timely community-based intervention. Before there was a disconnect, but now there's let's work together and see how we can collaborate in terms of with the information that we have. And that brings me to the WBE again. That's how I started with Jefferson County Environmental Services, who are responsible for the wastewater reclamation facilities. And that was me approaching them, that going through their PR department, that would like to sample some waters. So the first step is you go for a tour, they show you around, then you ask for, is it okay if we can sample? Can we get some samples of wastewater samples on a regular basis? The key is not a once-off, because if you want to do a longitudinal study, you have to sample. You can do that every day if you want to look at the what's happening over a week, or once a month for over the summer or the whole year. So it just depends on the aim of the project. So one approach that I did was, instead of just looking at the wastewater reclamation facility as a source of samples, I brought them in as a partner. Once you bring the partners on board and they see themselves as partners, as working with you to find out what's in the wastewater and how it can be used for the good of society, then you find they're more amenable to working with you and providing the samples that you need. And we've had very good collaboration with Jefferson County Environmental Services in Birmingham, Alabama, finding out what resources are available, beginning selling ourselves, working with collaborators, internal and external. Starting with frontline workers, I started with the wastewater, the frontline workers, the managers, the supervisors, and they were able to speak to the management, to the deputy directors, and then we had access to more facilities. And focusing on the mutual benefits, the value of valuing collaborators as essential partners, and respecting their time, prioritizing, because you can be put in so many directions, but prioritizing that. And from the corporate insights, just to quickly go through that, from the business perspective, they're looking for return on investment. So they work on selling themselves. Any company, whether it's Procter & Gamble, they'll sell their products, they leverage the best resources, and they have multi-discipline teams. And that's how we need to approach that as academics as well. I'd like to acknowledge, I know I rushed up towards the end, but just to give time for questions, by Jefferson County Environmental Services, Birmingham, Alabama, the National Science Foundation, and research students, Nina Odenator, Will Harris, Deja, who have all worked on this project. And the BHM Horizontal Gene Transfer Team at UAB, that's the NSF-funded project, and the Metabolics and Proteomics Laboratory at UAB, who are doing a wonderful job with the LCMS analysis of the wastewater samples as we detect the antibiotics that are prevalent in there and linking it to now the soil samples that we're also looking at. Start by building strong internal collaborations. Those can make you more attractive to external partners. So if maybe you're a junior, then perhaps you can be involved with internally. I don't know who's working internally within academia. You get involved with a group. Through that, you are exposed to other sources that you might not have been exposed to. Collaborations can be based on data, knowledge, or technology. It's not always technology. Sometimes it's just data sharing. Like with the law enforcement and public health, we're just sharing data. We're not creating a new technology. So know that collaborations don't always have to be a new invention, or it can just be based on data sharing. Leverage the partnerships that are available to create new ones. So ask around the chairs, the deans, or other groups. Do they have links with other organizations outside that maybe you can partner with? Because sometimes we don't know what's happening. We are in a silo so much. We don't know who's doing what. And if you just ask, somebody might have a link to a partnership or collaboration that you'd like and can piggyback on that. Collaborations take time and effort. This has been said through all high-bar webinars. It's a constant advice. They take time and effort, but they're worth it once they're established.